Hello, everyone. I'm Henry Mitchell, a veteran who spent 15 months fighting in distant lands to protect our country. But today, I'm not here to talk about battles on the battlefield. I want to share a different story, one that broke my heart and forced me to confront an enemy within my own home. It's a story of betrayal of my daughter Lily's pain, and how I did everything to protect her. This story isn't easy to hear, but I promise it will keep you captivated. Join me on this journey, and I'll tell you why sometimes the toughest battles don't require guns or bullets. As I drove my old pickup truck down the road to our suburban Virginia home, the late afternoon sun glinting through the windshield, a chill ran down my spine. After 15 months in combat, I'd learned to trust my instincts, and they were screaming that something was wrong. Our two-story house, once filled with laughter and the smell of Maya's fresh-baked cookies, now looked like a shadow of itself. The white paint was peeling, and Maya's rose garden was overrun with weeds. I stepped out of the truck, my combat boots crunching on the gravel, and at that moment the front door flew open. Lily, my 12-year-old daughter, ran into my arms. "Dad," she cried, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. I hugged her tightly, feeling her small frame tremble, and when I looked down, I saw a faint yellow bruise on her cheek, cleverly hidden under her long brown hair. My heart stopped. I'd faced bombs and bullets, but nothing scared me more than that bruise. I kept my voice calm like I did when reassuring young soldiers in battle. "Lily, what happened? Are you okay?" She avoided my gaze, whispering, "I'm fine, Dad." But I didn't believe her. 15 months of military training taught me to spot the signs people try to hide. I led Lily into the living room where things only got stranger. The family photos that once lined the walls were gone, replaced by unfamiliar art pieces. The old armchair where I used to read to Lily was now a sleek, expensive leather chair. Shopping bags from high-end stores like Nordstrom and Saks Fifth Avenue littered the floor. This wasn't the home I'd left. This was someone else's territory. That night, as Lily curled up on the sofa, I knelt in front of her, taking her hands. "Lily, you know I'm always here for you. Tell me what's going on." Her eyes filled with tears, and then like a dam breaking, she sobbed. "Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't want to tell, but Mom said if I did, it'd get worse." My blood ran cold, but I kept my voice gentle. "Who hurt you, Lily? Tell me." And she did. Her mother, Maya, had brought a man named John Marshall into our home. One day, Lily came home early from a friend's house sick and caught them in my bedroom. John got angry, slapped her, and shoved her against the wall. Maya just watched, doing nothing. Worse, she threatened Lily that if she told me John would hurt her more. I held Lily close, promising no one would hurt her again, but inside a storm was brewing. I used to think war was the most dangerous place, but now I realize the closest enemies can be in your own home. Maya, the woman I married 13 years ago, had become a stranger. I remembered our younger days when she stood at Dulles Airport waving goodbye with a radiant smile. But now, she wasn't that Maya. She'd chosen John, a thug, tied to a local kingpin named Michael Davies. She'd drained our joint account, splurged on luxuries, and worst of all, let our daughter get hurt. I wasn't just angry, I felt betrayed on the deepest level. But I didn't let emotions take over. In the military, I learned that rash actions lead to failure. I needed information and a plan. I contacted Tom Reynolds, an old squad mate now working in private security. Tom had a wide network and agreed to help me investigate John Marshall. Meanwhile, I moved Lily to a small hotel in suburban Arlington, guarded by a former Marine named James Cooper. I wanted Lily safe and I needed time to act. Tom quickly sent me a dossier on John. He was 38, 6'2", 210 pounds, and had worked security at a DC nightclub called the Red Door. He had 3 assault charges in the past 5 years, all dropped likely thanks to Davies' influence. John was Davies' enforcer in loan sharking schemes, handling those who didn't pay. But what chilled me was learning Maya had been with him for months, using my money for lavish dinners at places like the Capitol Grill and 5-star hotel getaways. Worse, she'd helped John funnel money to offshore accounts, thinking they'd run off together. I sat in the hotel room watching Lily sleep, clutching the stuffed penguin I'd sent from Iraq. The bruise on her cheek was a reminder I'd failed to protect her. But I swore from now on no one would touch her. I began tailing Maya and John as carefully as I'd once scouted targets in war. One night I wore a hoodie and cap standing in the shadows near the red door. Through the window I saw Maya in an expensive dress laughing with John. He put his hand on her thigh and she didn't flinch. I overheard a snippet as I passed by posing as a passerby. "Henry'll never know," Maya said smugly. "He's too busy playing hero." John laughed. "If he gets in the way, I'll teach him a lesson like I did the kid." Rage nearly made me charge in, but I held back. I remembered my old commander's words. "The strongest enemy is the one who doesn't know you're coming." I started gathering evidence. In Maya's drawer, I found a notebook where she meticulously logged every transaction with John, amounts, dates, accounts. She thought she was clever, but her arrogance would be my weapon. I photographed every page, sending them to Tom for analysis. Tom discovered John wasn't just cheating Maya, he was skimming from Davies, his boss. This was my opening. To make this story relatable, I'll share a real case I read in a Maryland paper. A single dad named Brian from Baltimore found out his ex-wife let their son live with her abusive, drug-addicted boyfriend. The boyfriend had hit the boy and the mom did nothing. Brian, a regular postal worker with no military skills, did what I did. He gathered evidence. He recorded his ex's calls, got neighbors' statements, and took it to court. He won custody, and the boyfriend was jailed for child abuse. Brian's story showed me that no matter who you are when your kid's in danger, you find the strength to fight. Back to my story. I knew I needed a perfect plan. John wasn't some average thug. He had guns back up and thought he was untouchable. But I'd learned in combat that every target has a weakness. John's were his arrogance and greed. He thought he could manipulate everyone, including Maya. Maya was blinded by the idea that John would give her a lavish life. I decided to use their greed to make them destroy each other. I started by sending John an anonymous text posing as an investor interested in buying his old warehouse near the Potomac. I knew he needed cash as Davies was sniffing around his theft. I had Tom spread rumors that a real estate tycoon was hunting for cheap properties and John's warehouse was perfect. Meanwhile, I called Maya from a burner phone saying I knew about her offshore accounts and would tip off the IRS unless she pushed John to take the deal. Maya panicked as I'd predicted and began pressuring John to accept the deal of a century. While this played out, I worked with James Cooper, the hotel guard, to keep Lily safe. James and his wife Ellen treated Lily like their granddaughter. They took her for ice cream at Ben & Jerry's, taught her chess, and got her to smile for the first time in months. Seeing Lily's spark return told me I was on the right path, but I knew one mistake could unravel everything. One evening, I infiltrated the red door posing as a new security guard. Tom had arranged for me to interview with Frank Miller, the club's owner. Frank didn't ask much, just that I was ex-military and could handle a crowd. That night, I stood near the bar watching John and Maya. He drank scotch, acting like a kingpin, while Maya flaunted a new Louis Vuitton bag. They talked about me thinking I was just a dumb soldier who'd never catch on. "If Henry tries anything," John slurred, "I'll go back and teach that kid another lesson." Maya just laughed, saying nothing. I clenched my fists, but my moment hadn't come. I began sowing distrust between them. I sent a fake email to John from Davies' people warning that Maya was hiding a secret account. Meanwhile, I slipped a note into Maya's purse, forged as John's, hinting he'd ditch her after getting the money. They started arguing, just as I'd planned. John grew paranoid, and Maya was desperate to keep him. Their arrogance blinded them to my trap. For another real-world perspective, I recall a 2020 Chicago case where a mom named Carla found her husband abusing her stepdaughter. Carla also discovered he'd funneled family savings to secret accounts. Instead of confronting him, she worked with a PI to gather evidence, hotel receipts, texts, surveillance footage. She handed it to the police, and he got 12 years. Carla later wrote a book inspiring thousands. Her story showed me justice requires patience and cunning, just like my approach. The fateful night arrived. I'd set up everything at John's warehouse. I planted fake documents, transfer contracts, printed emails, and a forged handwritten letter from Maya threatening to snitch on John to Davies if he didn't share the money. I knew her fingerprints were already in John's office from her visits. I also hid a tiny recorder with old Red Door conversations of them plotting to steal from Davies. Everything was staged to look like a lover's betrayal gone wrong. When John arrived at the warehouse, he strode in with fake confidence keys to his Mercedes in hand. I watched from the shadows through tactical binoculars. He shouted, "Yo, Thompson, I'm here for the deal." I let the silence stretch, letting fear gnaw at him. Finally, I stepped out, voice icy. "Thompson's not real, John." "But I am." He recognized me, panic flashing in his eyes. He drew his gun, but I was faster, disarming him with a move from close quarters training. "You touched my daughter," I said, voice shaking with rage. "You thought you were untouchable. You were wrong." John fought back, but he was no match. I didn't kill him. I didn't need to. I knocked him out, leaving him with the fake evidence. Then I made an anonymous call to the cops reporting suspicious activity at the warehouse. As I left, I knew Maya was at the red door trying to establish an alibi by picking a fight with a bartender in front of witnesses. She thought she was clever, but she was playing my game. The next morning, the police found John waking up to a world of trouble. The fake documents pointed to Maya, and when they searched the warehouse, they found her letter with her fingerprints. Meanwhile, Davies got an anonymous email from me with proof John and Maya stole millions from him. Davies didn't forgive Betrayal, and he cut ties with John, leaving him to face the law alone. Maya was arrested at the red door mid-brag to her friends. I watched the news from the hotel, seeing her led away in handcuffs, her designer dress looking out of place. At trial, Maya tried blaming John, but the evidence was overwhelming: emails, transfers, and Lily's testimony about the abuse. She got 20 years for financial fraud and child endangerment. I sat in the courtroom watching her scream. Henry, tell them the truth, but I just held Lily's hand, knowing justice was served. After the trial, I took Lily to San Diego, where Tom had a security firm that needed someone like me. We rented a small house near Mission Beach with a backyard big enough for Lily to plant flowers as she'd always dreamed. Lily started school again, joined the chess club, and slowly her smile returned. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the Pacific sunset, Lily asked Dad, "Does Mom ever regret it?" I hugged her, saying, "Maybe, but it doesn't matter. What matters is you're safe and we have each other." Looking back, I realized this battle wasn't about revenge. It was about protecting family. In the military, I learned you sometimes sacrifice parts of yourself to save those you love. I'm not proud of everything I did, but I have no regrets. For Lily, I'd do it all again. And if you're hearing this, I want you to remember, when your loved ones are threatened, you'll find the strength to fight no matter the cost. The early days in San Diego felt like a fresh start for Lily and me. Maya was in federal prison. John Marshall faced multiple charges, and Lily was finding joy in small things, learning to surf at La Jolla or planting daisies in our backyard. But war, whether on the battlefield or in your own home, rarely ends neatly like in the movies. I learned that when you defeat one enemy, you sometimes open a new, more dangerous front. And that's exactly what happened next. One Saturday morning, as I brewed coffee in our rental's tiny kitchen, Lily rushed in, clutching her laptop. "Dad, you have to see this." Her voice trembled, and I saw that familiar fear in her eyes. On the screen was an anonymous email sent to Lily's inbox from a strange address. "Tell your dad he can't hide forever. We know the truth." Attached was a grainy photo of us walking on Mission Beach, unaware we were being watched. My heart pounded, but I kept my face calm, smiling at Lily. Probably just kids pranking, don't worry. But inside, I knew this was no prank. Someone was targeting us, and I had to find them before things spiraled out of control. I called Tom Reynolds, my ever-reliable squad mate. "Henry, listen," Tom said over the phone, his voice low, like we were prepping for a high-stakes mission. "I've heard rumors. Michael Davies, the kingpin John worked for, isn't happy with how things went down. He thinks something's off about Maya and John's fall. He's hiring people to dig, and if he suspects you, it's gonna get ugly." I gripped the phone, feeling like I was walking into a minefield. Davies wasn't John. He was a shark with money and power to crush anyone who crossed him. I decided not to sit and wait. In the military, I learned the best defense is sometimes a preemptive strike. I asked Tom to dig deeper on Davies while I tracked John and Maya's old contacts. I uncovered a detail that chilled me. Maya, even from prison, was communicating with her close friend Carla, a DC bank employee. Carla had helped Maya move money overseas, and I suspected she knew more than she let on. I booked a cheap flight to DC, telling Lily I had a short work trip. "I'll be back before your birthday, okay?" I kissed her forehead, but inside I knew this trip might not be simple. In DC, I met Carla at a small Georgetown coffee shop, posing as a client needing financial advice. Carla, a 40-ish blonde in gold-rimmed glasses, had a fake smile I recognized from interrogating enemies in the field. I asked vague investment questions, then pivoted. You worked with Maya Mitchell, right? Heard she got into big trouble. Carla froze her coffee cup, trembling. I don't know anything about that, she stammered. But her eyes betrayed her. I pulled out a printed email. Tom had found a transaction between Carla and Maya weeks before Maya's arrest. What's this? Carla want me to send it to the FBI? She panicked, her voice shaking. Okay. I didn't want to be involved, but Maya forced me. She said if I didn't help, John would deal with me. After her arrest, someone contacted me, a guy named Vince. He said Davies wanted to clear things up, and if I didn't cooperate, I'd regret it. I pressed Carla for more, and she revealed Vince was a bounty hunter hired by Davies to find proof I'd framed Maya and John. Vince had been tailing me and Lily in San Diego, preparing a report for Davies. I left the coffee shop feeling a storm brewing. Back in San Diego, I knew I had to move fast. I couldn't let Davies or Vince touch Lily. I asked James and Ellen Cooper to watch her, saying I needed a few days to handle business. Lily, sharp as ever, looked at me with worried eyes. Dad, is Mom causing trouble again? I knelt, taking her hands. Not Mom, sweetheart. Just some things Dad needs to fix. Remember what I taught you? Always have a backup plan. She nodded, clutching her stuffed penguin, and I left with a new plan forming. I contacted Tom, and we assembled a small team of trusted ex-military friends. Jake, a tech wizard who'd hacked enemy systems in Afghanistan, and Maria, a former intel officer with a razor-sharp mind. We met at an abandoned warehouse in Chula Vista where Tom stored security gear. Davies doesn't just want the truth, Maria said, flipping through files. He wants revenge. If he thinks you took down John, he won't stop until you and Lily are gone. Jake nodded, pointing at his laptop. Vince sent photos of you and Lily to Davies. He's in San Diego, staying at a hotel near Gaslamp Quarter. Rage flared, but I stayed cool. This wasn't the time for emotions. I proposed a bold plan: distract Vince, make him think I was a minor threat while I went after Davies directly. We need to make Davies doubt Vince, I said. If Vince fails, Davies will cut him loose, giving us time to shield Lily. Maria grinned. I like how you think, Henry. Let me handle Vince. Maria posed as an investigative reporter, contacting Vince and hinting she was writing a piece on Davies. She accidentally leaked that Vince was talking to the cops, planting seeds of doubt in Davies' mind. Meanwhile, Jake hacked Vince's phone, installing a tracking app to monitor his every move. I returned to the Red Door in D.C., this time to confront Frank Miller, the club owner. I knew Frank had dirt on Davies, and I needed to tap it. Frank wasn't thrilled to see me. Mitchell, you're playing with fire, he said, wiping sweat from his brow. But when I showed him a copied email proving Vince was trying to sell Davies' secrets to a rival gang, Frank's tune changed. All right, I'll talk. Davies is losing patience. He thinks Maya was set up, and he wants to know who's behind it. He's got a guy in the D.C. Police Detective Harris who helps cover his tracks. I noted Harris's name, thanked Frank, and left before anyone spotted me. Harris was an unexpected twist. I thought Davies was just a typical kingpin, but a cop on his payroll raised the stakes. I called Tom, asking him to dig into Harris. Meanwhile, back in San Diego, I got a new message from Vince sent to my burner phone. Mitchell, you think you're clever, but I know what you did to John. Meet me at Coronado Pier 10 p.m. tomorrow, or the kid pays. My heart raced, but I saw an opportunity. Vince was exposing himself. The next night, I went to Coronado Pier, but not alone. Tom and Jake were hidden nearby, ready to intervene. Vince showed up, a tall guy with silver hair and cold eyes, wearing a leather jacket, hands in pockets, clearly packing. Mitchell, he growled, you think you can play Davies and walk away? I've got proof, a recording of Maya saying you set it all up. I stayed calm, though, stunned inside. A recording? Impossible. But I didn't let Vince see my shock. If you've got proof, why not give it to Davies already? Or are you scared he'll find out you're double-dealing? Vince smirked, but I caught his hesitation. I was right. Maria and Jake's seeds of doubt were working. You've got one chance, I said, voice cold. Walk away, forget this, and I won't tell Davies you tried selling his secrets. Vince drew his gun, but before he could aim, Tom emerged from the shadows, disarming him. Wrong move, pal, Tom said, pinning Vince down. We tied him up, took his phone and gear. In his phone, I found the recording, a poorly edited fake stitched from Maya's old calls. Vince had tried to scam Davies and I'd caught him. But the story didn't end there. Checking Vince's emails, I found one from Detective Harris confirming he was reopening Maya's case. Harris suspected me and had asked federal investigators to review the warehouse documents. I realized that despite defeating John and Maya, I was still in the crosshairs. Davies, Harris, and now the FBI were all gunning for me. I needed a bigger, bolder plan to protect Lily for good. I decided to confront Davies head-on. Crazy, I know, but in the military, sometimes you hit the enemy's core to end the war. I had Jake forge a dossier showing Harris was working with a rival gang to topple Davies. Simultaneously, I sent Davies an anonymous message revealing Harris and Vince's plot against him. I knew Davies wouldn't tolerate betrayal, and I hoped he'd take them both out. Meanwhile, I moved Lily to a safe house in Encinitas arranged by Tom. I didn't want her near San Diego when things exploded. Lily, though scared, stayed strong. "I trust you, Dad," she said, hugging me before I left. Her words fueled me. I returned to San Diego ready for the final fight. One night, Tom got word Davies wanted to meet. He sent an invite to the Marine Room, a fancy La Jolla restaurant. I knew it could be a trap, but I had no choice. I wore a suit, hid a dagger in my boot, and walked in. Davies sat at a corner table, a 50-ish man with salt and pepper hair and eyes like knives. "Mitchell," he said, voice low, "you're a hard man to find. I want to know why you meddled in my business." I met his gaze. "I didn't meddle, Davies. John and Maya dug their own graves. But if you want war, I'm ready." Davies laughed, a predator's smile. "You've got guts, I'll give you that. But you don't know who you're up against." Harris found something, a traffic cam video near John's warehouse showing you leaving that night. The floor dropped out, but I didn't let Davies see my panic. "If you had proof, I wouldn't be sitting here," I said calmly. Davies tilted his head, sizing me up. "I don't care about justice, Mitchell. I want a deal. Work for me, and I'll protect your kid." I clenched my fists under the table, knowing this was the moment. I could agree, enter Davies' world, and lose myself. Or I could fight, even if it cost everything. I stood staring at Davies. "No deal. Touch my daughter and I'll make you regret being born." I walked out, feeling his eyes on me. Outside, Tom called. "Henry, shit's hitting the fan. Harris just got arrested for bribery. The FBI's raiding his office and they found the fake dossier we sent Davies. He's freaking out, thinking he's been set up." I saw my final chance. Tom and I planned the endgame, make Davies destroy himself. We leaked that Davies was cooperating with the FBI for a plea deal, turning his allies against him. Simultaneously, I sent the feds a package of Davies' transactions pulled from Vince's phone. Within a week, the FBI raided Davies' Del Mar mansion, arresting him for money laundering and racketeering. His empire collapsed. With Davies and Harris gone, I finally felt safe. I returned to Encinitas, picking up Lily. She ran to me, hugging me so tight I nearly fell. "I knew you'd do it, Dad," she said, and for the first time in months, I laughed freely. We went back to our beach house, where Lily started painting a new hobby. One of her pieces, a Pacific sunset, hung in our living room, a reminder we'd survived the darkness. But I knew the story would never truly end. Each night as I checked windows and locks, I remembered freedom's price is vigilance. I'd fought not just for Lily, but for everyone betrayed by those who think they're untouchable. If you're hearing this, remember, no matter how big the darkness, you have the strength to fight for what matters most. The months that followed in San Diego seemed like a new beginning for Lily and me, but I quickly learned that shadows from the past don't fade easily. Davies was behind bars, Harris was locked up, and Maya was serving her sentence, but a nagging unease lingered, like someone was still watching. I'd learned on the battlefield that silence often signals an ambush, and I wasn't about to be caught off guard again. One afternoon, as I drove Lily home from school, we stopped at a Cold Stone creamery near our house. Lily was laughing, telling me about making the school volleyball team, when I noticed a black SUV parked a few yards away. Its tinted windows hid the driver, but I felt eyes on us. My combat-honed instincts screamed danger. I took Lily's hand, keeping my tone light. "Come on, princess, let's get home. I've got your favorite pasta to make." But as we drove off, I glanced in the rearview mirror. The SUV was tailing us. This wasn't random. That night after Lily was asleep, I called Tom. "We've got a problem," I said, describing the SUV. Tom, ever steady, replied, "Henry?" I was afraid of this. Davies is gone, but his organization didn't collapse entirely. A guy named Marcus Kane, his right-hand man, took over parts of the operation. Word is he's out for revenge for Davies, and you're target number one. I gripped the phone, feeling war reignite. Where's Kane? I asked. Tom sighed. He's a ghost, but I'll find him. For now, keep Lily locked down. I ramped up Lily's security. I installed cameras around the house and taught her basics like spotting strangers and calling for help. Lily only 12, but sharp, didn't ask much, but I saw worry in her eyes. Dad, will this ever really be over? She asked one night over pizza on the couch. I hugged her, saying, "It will, Lily. I promise. As long as we're together, no one can hurt us." But inside, I knew I had to act before Kane struck. To understand Kane, I asked Maria, the ex-intel officer, to dig into his past. She found Kane wasn't just a criminal. He was a disgraced FBI agent fired for bribery who joined Davies' crew. Smart, ruthless, and with a spy network across California, Kane believed I didn't just frame John, but dismantled Davies' empire. Kane doesn't just want revenge, Maria warned. He wants to send a message. You and Lily are targets, but he won't hit directly. He plays cat and mouse. The next twist came out of nowhere. One morning, a package with no sender's name sat on our doorstep. Inside was a USB drive and a handwritten note. "Watch it, Mitchell. The truth always finds a way." I checked the package for danger, then plugged the USB into a secure laptop Jake had set up. A video played grainy but clear enough to damn me. It was me at John's warehouse that night, leaving after planting the fake evidence. Someone had recovered footage I thought was erased. My heart raced. If Kane had this, he could flip the script, clear Maya, and make me the criminal. I called Tom and Maria for an emergency meet at an Ocean Beach coffee shop. "We need to find who's behind this USB," I said, voice tight. Jake analyzed the drive, tracing its digital footprint to a private security firm in LA linked to Kane. "But here's the weird part," Jake said, pointing at his screen. The USB was mailed from a post office in Virginia near the prison where Maya's held. She might still be pulling strings from inside. I was floored. Maya. After everything she's still out for me. I decided to confront Maya again. I flew to Virginia to the federal prison where she was held. Through the thick glass in the visitation room, Maya looked haggard, her once perfect hair a mess, her eyes burning with hate. "Henry," she hissed through the phone, "you think you've won, don't you?" I cut to the chase. "The USB, Maya. Was it you? Are you working with Kane?" She laughed, a chilling sound. "You think you know everything, but you know nothing. Davies wasn't the only one who wanted you down. I have friends, Henry, and they'll make you pay." Maya clammed up, but I had my answer. She was still scheming even from prison. I left calling Tom. "We need to stop Kane before he uses the video. If it gets to the cops, I'll lose Lily." Tom agreed, and we planned anew to distract Kane while destroying the video. Jake found the server holding the video's backup at the LA security firm's facility. Tom, Maria, and I headed out determined to wipe the data before Kane could act. That night, we broke into the LA facility, a sleek building with heavy cameras and guards. Jake disabled the cameras remotely while Maria and I slipped in through an emergency exit. In the server room, I found the drive with the video, but then alarms blared. Kane had anticipated us. Guards rushed in, and Maria and I fought our way out, my mind flashing to combat days where every second was life or death. We escaped with the drive, but I knew Kane wouldn't quit. Back in San Diego, another shock hit Lily. Got a text from an unknown number with a photo of her in the schoolyard. The message read, "Tell your dad to stop or you won't get to grow up." I hugged Lily, promising to keep her safe, but inside I knew I faced a deadlier foe than ever. I decided to play my final card, use the video to trap Kane. I had Jake edit the video, adding fake details to make it look like Kane staged it to extort Davies. Then I sent it to a San Diego Union-Tribune investigative reporter, Sarah Lopez, along with proof of Kane's illegal dealings. Sarah ran the story headlined, "Ex-FBI agent tied to extortion plot, sparking a firestorm." Kane became a target for cops and his rivals. He was nabbed in a Tijuana sweep, and the original video was destroyed in the investigation. But the story didn't end. One day I got a handwritten letter from Maya in prison. "Henry, you think you've won, but I always have a backup plan. Watch Lily closely because next time I won't miss. I burned the letter, but her threat haunted me. I knew Maya would never quit, but neither would I. I beefed up Lily's security, enrolled her in self-defense classes, and ensured she always had trusted people nearby. For a real-world tie-in, I'll share a 2023 California case. A dad named Miguel in Oakland found his ex-wife working with a gang to threaten their son after losing custody. Miguel worked with the police, set a trap, and protected his boy. His story reminded me that no matter how strong the enemy, a father will do anything to keep his child safe. Now, Lily and I live each day as a gift. She started painting professionally, even selling a piece at a local exhibit. I work for Tom's firm building a new life, but I never stop watching. Every night as I watch Lily sleep, I know every sacrifice was worth it. If you're hearing this, remember when you fight for family, nothing is impossible. Though Marcus Kane was arrested and Davies' empire crumbled, I couldn't shake the feeling that a new threat loomed. Life in San Diego with Lily seemed peaceful: mornings, driving her to school, afternoons, strolling Pacific Beach, weekend tacos at an old town joint. But I knew too well that peace can be a thin veil over a brewing storm. And that storm hit faster than I expected. One evening, as I checked our home security cameras, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I hesitated, but instinct told me to answer. Henry Mitchell. A low female voice said, cold and sharp, "You think you've escaped, but you're only delaying the inevitable." Before I could respond, she continued, "I'm Elena Voss, and I know everything about what you did to John and Maya. Meet me at Balboa Park by the fountain 9 p.m. tomorrow, or Lily won't see her 13th birthday." The call cut off, and I stood frozen, heart pounding. Elena Voss. I'd never heard the name, but her voice carried the confidence of someone holding all the cards. I called Tom, relaying the call. "Elena Voss," Tom repeated, voice heavy. "I've heard of her. She's an LA lawyer who reps guys like Davies. Rumor is she worked with John Marshall on money laundering deals, but no one's pinned her. If she's after you, Henry, this ain't a game. She's more dangerous than Kane and Davies combined." A chill ran through me. I'd taken down thugs and kingpins, but a lawyer with a sharp mind and endless resources. This was a whole new war. I refused to let Elena hold the upper hand. Before the meeting, I had Jake investigate her. Jake's hacking skills uncovered a trove of hidden files on a Beverly Hills law firm's server. Elena wasn't just a lawyer, she was a fixer, cleaning up messes for powerful clients. She'd helped John cover up an assault in DC and had deep ties to Maya. One email Jake found floored me. Maya had sent Elena a detailed list of offshore account transactions with a note. "If I get in trouble, use this to take Henry down." Maya wasn't just vengeful, she'd been planning this long before her arrest. The next night, I went to Balboa Park, wired with a hidden mic from Tom. The park was quiet, just the fountain's trickle and dim path lights. Elena appeared on time, a 45-ish woman with dark hair and a tight bun, wearing a sharp black suit. Her eyes were predatory. "Mitchell," she said, voice smooth but menacing. "Impressive taking down Davies and Kane, but you've kicked a hornet's nest and I'm the one with the stick." She pulled out an iPad, showing another video, this time from the Red Door security, catching me passing John and Maya's table, clearly watching them. "With the warehouse footage, she said I can put you away, but I don't want that. I want you to work for me." I scoffed, though my mind reeled. "Work for you like John and Maya?" "I don't sell out my family." Elena tilted her head, studying me. "You misunderstand, Henry. I don't want your money or loyalty. I want your skills. You took down two of the toughest men I know, and I need someone like you for a bigger problem. Do it and I'll erase the evidence. Refuse and Lily's never safe." I clenched my fists, knowing it was a trap, but needing time to maneuver. "I'll think about it," I said. Elena nodded, handing me a business card. 24 hours, Mitchell. Don't disappoint me." Back home, I huddled with Tom, Jake, and Maria. "Elena's not just controlling me," I said. "She's hiding something bigger. We need to find this problem," she mentioned. Maria, with her intel background, suggested tailing Elena. Jake planted a tracker on her car as she left the park, and we learned she frequented a Malibu mansion owned by billionaire Richard Caldwell. Per Maria, Caldwell was a financier tied to crime syndicates, with Elena as his go-between. "If Elena wants you for Caldwell," Maria said, "this isn't just revenge. They're planning something big, maybe money laundering, smuggling, or worse." The next twist hit via a text from an unknown number with an audio file attached. I played it, and Maya's voice, weak but venomous, filled the room. Henry, if you're hearing this, I've failed, but you won't escape. Elena won't let you, and Caldwell will destroy you. I tried to protect myself, but you took everything. The file ended with a scream like Maya was attacked. I called the prison only to learn Maya had been transferred to a Nevada facility, reason unknown. A chill hit me. How was Maya tied to Caldwell? And why did Elena want me involved? For context, I'll share a 2022 Los Angeles Times story. A Pasadena dad, David, found his ex-wife funneled money for a crime syndicate through a shell company. When he dug deeper, a lawyer like Elena threatened him. David worked with the FBI, supplying emails and documents leading to the lawyer's arrest and the network's collapse. David's story reminded me that no matter how powerful the enemy, truth is the ultimate weapon. I decided to play Elena's game, but on my terms. I agreed to meet her at a Santa Monica seafood restaurant, but first, Jake and I rigged the private room she'd reserved with cameras and mics. During the meeting, Elena revealed her problem. Caldwell was under DEA scrutiny for cross-border drug trafficking, and he needed someone like me to handle a key witness, a former employee named Carlos Rivera. Kill Rivera, Elena said, and you're free. Refuse, and I send the evidence to the FBI. I feigned agreement, but I had another plan. I tracked down Rivera not to kill him, but to enlist him. Hiding in a rundown San Bernardino motel, Rivera, a 40-ish man, was terrified, but listened when I shared my story about Lily. Caldwell and Elena ruined my life, he said. I've got proof, invoices, recordings, everything on their operations. I took Rivera to Tom's safe house, and we built a case against Elena and Caldwell. But Elena wasn't easily fooled. She realized I hadn't killed Rivera and retaliated by sending goons to Lily's school. Luckily, I'd anticipated this and had James Cooper watching her. James stopped two guys before they got close, but the incident shook Lily. "Dad, I don't want to live like this forever," she cried, clinging to me in the Encinitas safe house. I held her heart breaking. "I'll end this, Lily. I promise." I launched my final move. With Rivera's evidence, Tom and I contacted a trusted DEA agent, Special Agent Karen Brooks. Brooks reviewed our file, Elena's recordings, Rivera's documents, Caldwell's transactions. In a coordinated sting, the DEA raided Caldwell's Malibu mansion, arresting him and Elena. Elena tried pinning it on Maya, but no one bought it. Maya, it turned out, had been coerced by Elena for info in prison and was now worthless to Caldwell. Post-arrest, Lily and I returned to San Diego. She resumed school, joined an art class, and her smile slowly returned. One evening on La Jolla Beach, watching the waves, Lily asked Dad, "Will we ever forget all this?" I smiled, brushing her hair. "Maybe not forget, but we can live better. We're stronger than what tried to break us." But I knew it wasn't fully over. One day, Brooks called. "Henry, you need to know something. We found a note in Elena's belongings mentioning a backup plan tied to Maya. We're investigating, but stay sharp." I hung up, watching Lily play in the sand, vowing to protect her until my last breath. Agent Brooks' warning about Elena's backup plan kept me up at night. I'd fought through battles from Afghan deserts to San Diego's dark underbelly, but this felt like an invisible threat, as if Maya's shadow still lingered, waiting to strike. To protect Lily forever, I had to sever every last tie to the past. This was my final fight, and I couldn't lose. I worked closely with Brooks. She revealed the DEA found a hidden drive in Caldwell's mansion containing emails between Elena and someone called Shadow. The emails hinted at a plan to eliminate Davies' former allies, including me. One line chilled me: Mitchell's kid was a weakness to exploit. I clenched my fists, determined to keep Lily untouchable. Brooks offered temporary protection for Lily, but I knew only one way to end this fine Shadow and dismantle his plan. I called Tom, Jake, and Maria, rallying the team one last time. "Shadow's the key," I said, voice firm. "If we don't find him, Lily's never safe." Jake traced the email's digital trail to a server in Reno, Nevada, near the prison Maya was transferred to. A terrifying thought hit: was Maya Shadow? Or was she a pawn in a larger game? I flew to Nevada, determined to face Maya one last time. In the prison's visitation room, Maya looked like a ghost, gaunt eyes sunken but still radiating hate. "You never stop, do you, Henry?" she snarled. I cut to the chase. "Who's Shadow, Maya? Don't play dumb. I know you're pulling strings from here." She laughed, a twisted sound. "You think I'm Shadow? Oh, Henry, you're still so naive. Shadow's not me. He's someone you'd never suspect, someone who stood by you, laughed with you, promised to protect you. Her words cut like a blade, but I hid my shock. Give me a name, I growled. Maya leaned in, whispering, Ask Tom Reynolds. He knows more than you think. I left the prison mind reeling. Tom, no way. Tom was my rock, the guy who saved my life in Kandahar, who stood by me through every trial. But Maya's words planted doubt, and I couldn't ignore it. I called Maria, asking her to quietly investigate Tom. Be careful, Henry, she said. If Tom's shadow were up against a mastermind. Meanwhile, I returned to San Diego, acting normal with Tom, but noticing small things, his averted gaze when Elena came up, how he always knew about threats before they surfaced. The biggest twist came when Jake sent me an encrypted audio file from Elena's server. I played it, and Tom's voice, cold and low, hit me. Mitchell's the problem. He's too smart, but he'll never see me coming. When the time's right, I'll handle him and the kid. My heart stopped. Tom, my best friend, was Shadow. He'd orchestrated everything using me to topple Davies Kane and Elena, all to seize their criminal network. He hadn't just betrayed me, he was targeting Lily. I decided to confront Tom, but not with fists. I'd learned in combat that the best way to beat an enemy is to let them destroy themselves. I invited Tom to a Gaslamp Quarter bar, saying we needed to plan Lily's protection. Meanwhile, Jake rigged the place with mics and cameras. Tom arrived, his usual friendly smile in place, but I saw tension in his eyes. Henry, you okay? You seem stressed, he said, sipping a beer. I smiled, voice calm. Tom, I got an interesting audio file. Want to hear it? I played the recording and Tom's face went pale. He tried to deny it, but I cut him off. Don't, Tom. I know everything. You're Shadow. Tom laughed, but it was desperate. You're smarter than I thought, Henry, but you've got no proof. Who'll believe you? A troubled vet or a respected security exec? I leaned in, locking eyes. The FBI will. I sent the audio to Agent Brooks along with your emails with Elena. They're coming, Tom. Game's over. He bolted up, drawing a gun, but before he could act, Brooks and the DEA stormed in, cuffing him. You'll regret this, Henry, he screamed as they dragged him away. I stood there feeling an odd relief. The last enemy was down. After Tom's arrest, Lily and I found peace. The FBI probed Shadow's network, confirming Tom had manipulated Maya and Elena for his own ends. Maya, now in a maximum security prison, was cut off from the outside. Lily, now 13, grew stronger. She excelled at painting and started a journal sharing her story to help other kids heal from trauma. One of her paintings, a bird soaring over a sunset, hangs in our living room, a symbol of freedom and hope. For a real-world connection, I'll share a 2024 San Diego story. A Chula Vista dad, Javier, discovered his best friend was scamming his family. Javier gathered evidence, confronted the friend, and turned him over to the police. His story reminded me that the deepest betrayals come from those we trust most, but truth always wins. Now, Lily and I live simply but fully. Our Mission Beach house has a daisy-filled garden and a rescue dog, Max. I drive Lily to school each morning and we share dinners, laughs, and new memories. But I never forget the past. Checking locks and cameras, I know freedom's cost is vigilance. Maya, John, Davies, Kane. Elena, Tom, if they taught me there's no room for error in the fight for family. If you're hearing this, remember, no matter how vast the darkness, you have the strength to fight for those you love. I went through hell for Lily, and I'd do it again. Life doesn't promise a perfect ending, but it gives you a chance to rewrite your story. For me, that story is Lily, the girl who taught me that no matter how cruel the world, a father's love can change everything. Thanks for joining me on this journey. Live strong, protect what matters, and never give up. This is Henry Mitchell signing off.